depends on the purity of your intent, the focus of your will, the level of your awareness, and the quality of your character. And the little Magi says, yes, I have reflected on these things. And the old Magi said, and how do you begin to apply them? Because in order to be a magician, in order to learn the ways of magic, you must be a master of three things. You must be a master of three things. You first must be a master of thinking. You must learn to think clearly and with focus. You must learn, in each of these three things you must master, there's something you must control. In learning to control your thinking, you have to control your mind. The second thing you have to be a master of is you have to be a master of doing. To be a master of doing, you have to control your will. The third thing is you have to be a master of feeling, a master of emotions. In order to be a master of emotions, you must learn to control your heart. But before you can control anything, you have to be aware of it. Therefore, the level of your awareness is critical, because the level of your awareness needs to focus in two directions. You need to be aware of what is going on at all times in your internal process, in your internal states, and in your external behavior. Only this awareness will allow you to begin to have control. Without awareness, there is no control. Without awareness, you no longer are, you are simply passive to something else. Also, you must intend. Awareness does not happen by accident. It happens by intent. And you must focus your will to make that happen. Also, your awareness must go to those things outside of you. You must be aware of the circumstances that surround you and of the other people that you are in interaction with. Only this awareness will allow you to see what is happening so that you can vary your behavior in order to get what intent you are focusing on. And the little Magi reflected. And as he was reflecting, the old Magi continued. You see, in this world, you can be one of two things. One follows the path of magic. The other follows the path that most people follow. The path of magic is the path of being at what we call cause. The path that most people follow is the path of being what is called effect. In this world, you are either at cause or you are at effect. When you are at cause, you are at control and your behavior is self-determined. When you are at effect, you are a victim and you have given up your control to forces outside of you and beyond you. When you are at cause, then when you change, the world changes. When you are at effect, the only way you can change is if the world changes. And you become on an emotional roller coaster as circumstances in the world continually change around you. Look for that which does not change. Look for that which does not change. Look for that for which you have control over. When you discover that with which you have control over, then you can become a master of yourself. And only by being a master of yourself can you be a master of magic. Now go and reflect upon the things that I have told you. And the little Magi went away to reflect on the words of the old Magi. Okay, today we're going to be dealing with the general area of emotional intelligence. We're going to be focusing later in a specific aspect of emotional intelligence having to do with the tone scale. But first we're going to establish the broader framework of emotional intelligence. Now then, once again, the phrase emotional intelligence has been coined by Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman's a rather interesting person. For a number of years, he was the religion editor of the New York Times. And he wrote perhaps one of the best books on meditation that's not been available, I think, for the last 20 years. But in his younger days, this was where his focus was. He also studied at Harvard, a PhD. He studied with David McClellan, the person that created the Power Affiliation Achievement Model, and has had a very interesting background. He's recently written a book in which he's worked with conversations with the Dalai Lama and continuing his work on exploration of emotional intelligence. As with so many things, he's come up with a very good explanation of the what, but as is almost always the case, he lacks the how. So this is where NLP has a tremendous advantage over many areas. We can take almost anything, like Covey's Secrets of Highly Successful People. He tells you what to do, but he doesn't tell you how to go about doing it. We can then also take then what we learned from Goleman, and we can begin to fill in the pieces because we have some technology that allows us to see how we can begin to have control over these things. Now, what Goleman says, he's got two books, Emotional Intelligence and Emotional Intelligence at Work. And in these, basically, he's done exhaustive research, and the conclusions he's come to, that is, in today's world, that the people that succeed are more doing so because of emotional intelligence rather than because of IQ. And he says that at the top in most organizations, people are about equal in IQ. That you're not going to be able to stand out from other people on the basis of IQ. Everybody's smart at the top. So what is it that makes the difference between those succeed in business, in government, in education, in life? And once again, the evidence is something that people have known pretty much all along. It's just that you hadn't thought of it in this way. People who are successful are people who are popular and who people like. In other words, people who have emotional intelligence.